anti-cult agencies are saying about the situation is something that a lot has happened. And of course, having said that, we've heard that the IPOB has declared a certain sit at home that is supposed to honor his death this morning. But do you think that these sit at homes, do you think that there is solution to any of our problems in any way?
Well, I don't know. You see, this is to to comment on this IPOB thing. The issue is I know how agitations are done, separatist agitations, and then quest for independence. Nigeria as a nation didn't just emerge, and then the agitation was actually not done with any means of force.
Okay.
I don't know, but the process is clear. Different strokes, different approach. So people have that. If we continue to sit at home, I think the purpose of sit at home it should be, something. Is a positive trend. It's a positive move
Okay.
that afflicts or that should afflict the other side. But
Okay.
in our circumstance, I don't know how that works. That people in the same territory that the agitations is coming from,
Mm.
the people feeling the brunt
Mm.
of these things. I don't know, but there is nothing wrong in self-agitation.
There's nothing wrong with.
There is nothing wrong with self-agitation.
All right, I will get more into those stories, that particular story, and give more details to it. But let's quickly go to the headlines, which I know that most of our listeners are more interested in finding out. We've been on this since Friday. I commented on it yesterday, and we will get a little more into it later on. But let's quickly look at the newspaper headlines this morning from the Vanguard News. Pressure mounts on Naira as it falls to 1,740 Naira in the parallel market. That's on the news this morning. Let's move further to tell you that families are hurting from high cost of food prices, says the IMF. Also, blackout, businesses and others suffer setback nationwide. All right, that seems to be the issue. And then one wonders why the IMF is on the news commenting on Nigeria's situation. Anyways, we will find out. All right, the coalition calls for IGP Ebotokun's dismissal over alleged police brutality. Now, the incident we have witnessed in Enugu here with the former Jerrick's friend who was also gunned down 2 weeks ago. And then we have this, and this is happening in other parts of the country. There are stories in Lagos, Osun State. There are stories coming out from all parts of Nigeria as it relates to the conduct of our security agents. And now there's been a call for the dismissal of Ebetokun, that's the IGP of the police force. That's on the news this morning. And lastly, on the Vanguard, understanding Tinubu's tax bills of relief for Nigerians and businesses. Understanding Tinubu's tax bills of relief for Nigerians. Now, let's quickly move over to maybe the Daily Post. Now, let's see what's on there. Oil crisis. Step down as minister, Nigerians to President Tinubu. I'll take that again. Step down as minister, Nigerians to Tinubu, and that's in relation to the oil crisis in the country. Let's also tell you that, okay, let's breathe freely. NLC slams IMF, World Bank for disowning subsidy removal adversary. it's worth the laughter. Okay, let's say that again just in case you didn't catch it the first time. Let's breathe freely. NLC slams IMF, World Bank for disowning subsidy removal adversary. We will come to that. I think Mr. Tony has something to say. Uh, Biliri crisis. Make commission of inquiry report public. Tangale women tell Governor Yahaya Bello. All right, let's see if we can grab a few more things that are, interesting this morning. Osun State 2026. APC urges members to ignore Primate Ayodele's prophecy. It's all spiritual over here. All right. Okay. So that's the much we can take on the Daily Post. Let's quickly go to the Punch newspaper. I think the Punch newspaper has more heat this morning. All right. Again, varsities face lockdown as workers begin strike today in Nigeria. Yeah. Okay. So the NLC slams IMF for fuel subsidy removal denial. Still on the news. All right. Let's also see what's there. Okay. So governors devise new strategies to keep local governments under control. All right. Let's also tell you that legal fireworks begin over APC nomination fee refund. Okay, see if we can grab a couple more interesting stories here. Okay. I think that's the much we could take on the Vanguard, but also to show you our investigated stories that we've bookmarked for you to, of course, get more details on. Shetima's life is at risk. Borno speaker demands new aircraft for Nigeria's vice president. After the incident, you will get your chance. I'm coming to you. You will get your chance. All right. Also from Bayo Onanuga, presidential aide, Tinubu is not T-Pain. He doesn't read what's on social media, but he is working hard to make things better. This is coming from Bayo Onanuga just 10 hours ago. All right. Let's also, on the Nation Nigeria, this morning, sit at home Mondays. Where are Southeast leaders? We will come to that when we will, stress on the security of the Southeast, because we have to do that this morning. All right, the oil marketers have addressed a letter to the president dated October 21st, in which they are requesting a grant of 100 billion naira to assist in preventing the closure of impacted 10,000 marketers' businesses in the coming weeks. It's happening. And also, as fuel consumption plummets nationwide due to soaring prices, oil marketers have expressed concerns over significant losses, with around 10,000 oil dealers about to shut down. Okay.
Yeah, it was just like the SMEs too. They're shutting down small, medium enterprises.
All right, we will get to it. And of course, Asari Dokubo has been on the internet, and of course, he has a lot to say. And just on the headlines this morning, he says, the Yorubas are betrayers. I emptied my account to campaign for President Tinubu. I got nothing, and now I am forming an alliance with the North. This is coming from Asari Dokubo.
Wait, did he consult anybody?
I don't know.
Then how do we know? You see, Asari is one personality. People come with their dramas, and it's a large theater, and they say what they want to say. So that should not bug us. I think what should bug us is the country's economy, social disorders, and then politics is actually crippling everybody. I would like to inform you that the current inflation, I don't know what's going on in this country, but then the current inflation is something the government actually, I read in some papers like yesterday that the economy is picking up.
Oh yes, it's been in the news.
And if the economy is picking up and you have a jack pricing system, you buy some that to the extent that such as that you buy one earpiece now, and then you return back to the seller in the next 10-15 minutes, and they tells you that that price he sold it to you is no longer feasible, that you have to buy. So If you watch the trend of American politics, the current presidential elections and Congress elections in America, you ask yourself, what is hitting the Democrats? What is hitting the Democrats is not that Kamala, their vice president that's running for president, is not capable.
Okay.
It's the same type of inflation. It's inflation. You know, Trump of the Republican Party is somehow, you know, a revealer. When he talks.
Okay.
People
He
don't
lets
take
it
him
go.
serious. But when you look at it, you ask yourself, why is this civilized environment, for instance, why are they misbehaving? They are misbehaving. So what did the government do in turn? They quickly restored petroleum subsidy in America. As I speak to you, the government, last 2 months, quickly restored them.
I heard.
And they are not listening to, because they are afraid. Somebody is telling them that, oh boy, this is just an orange from the mountain. It's not constant. So we are telling you, we will do this, we will do this. I think what is going for Kamala too is that Trump himself, the Republican Party, there is fear that if they win, tax cut will be for mega corporations and not for the middle class. So here we have a lot of issues. What is bugging and what is creating heat in our environment is due to non-channelization. If government is re-channelizing petroleum benefits or the benefits of that subsidy, people will see that and then they will say, okay, we can bear this heat. But transportation is an issue. It's creating problem. If you watch NBS, National Bureau for Statistics, their figures, transportation inflation is actually not just a monster, it has turned to a ghost. It hurts more than anybody can feel about it because, number one, most vehicle owners are now parking their vehicles,
True that.
taking public transport.
That's right.
And then public transport is surging in fares, in seconds. That means something is happening. Something is not correct. I don't think that there is synergy between the national government, the local government system, and the states. Otherwise, the proper thing to do at the beginning of this opera, Buhari led APC federal government was tactful. They made the law, but they didn't implement it. They didn't bring it to bear weeks or months before the elections.
Okay.
And there was no reason why announcing that at a swearing in. It is something that the government would have gone back and said, okay, this law is here, so but how do we tackle this? They do their in-house thing. First and foremost, inaugurate the president, go back, put their ministers, then run the system for a few months, call meeting of FEC, Federal Executive Council, call meeting of the National Economic whatever Council, do your consultations and explain to Nigerians that these things cannot work. But that profits we will make from this will be diverted to A, diverted to B, diverted to C, diverted to D in that order. By now, government, if 4 or 5 months after coming in, did this, Nigerians would have adjusted. They would have adjusted on their own. Now, people are now talking about tax cut. Tax cut is one part, but what about subsidizing health care? What about subsidizing agriculture? What about subsidizing transportation on its own? That is the big monster facing anybody, because whatever you do, you must move it about. Any cake you fry and you can't move it cannot be sold. So,
but I struggle to connect it, right? Because the federal government keeps reiterating that the economy is picking up and that the naira is stabilizing, right? You struggle to wonder if we are living in the same country.
how?
But if officials, if top members of our society are saying this, especially to the outside world.
Let me give you a breaking news.
Please.
A breaking information. A mama put, what we call mama put,
Of course.
a food seller, food vendor, that has no store, that is not under any roof except the umbrella she purchased about 11 years ago, sells one plate of rice, stewed rice,
Okay.
or jollof rice with a fingerless meat for 1,600 naira. You can go to that junction or wherever
It is
and
true.
check it.
It is true.
Okay. Now,
I tried to buy a slice of pineapple on Saturday. It was at the old artisan market.
Good.
Can you guess at what I was told?
Yes,
Please guess.
they told you that it has searched up.
It is 1,000 naira for a
I said it's
slice.
searched up.
For a
A
slice
slice, yes.
of pineapples
Pineapple.
in the
And
market.
then they cut it into 6 pieces.
Of course.
So
of
the 6
course.
pieces, the pineapple,
It's
actual cost of
6,000.
it is 6,000 naira.
But-
That's what you mean. And it's still surging.
That one,
So-
I think is our problem here, because
It cannot
I
be our
know
problem
that
because,
things are
listen,
expensive.
There are things government should have done.
Okay.
Agencies like produce boards that monitor the shipment of agro produce to cities or to markets. Their taxes and tariff, government should have weighed in and bring it down. That's the only way they can sell less. Because if you continue to collect valley tax from them, then what do you expect of them? They will sustain the valley price system that is endless.
But Mr. Tony,
Yes.
do you think, in all honesty, that this President Tinubu-led government has really done anything to directly affect the people's well-being? Do you think? Maybe I'm not getting the entire picture, but do you think that for the past 18 months that this government has been, in administration, do you think that they have done anything particularly to affect the lives of Nigerians in any way?
What the government, the APC-led federal government, their yardstick is a Edo state governorship election, and they keep telling you that if they're not doing well, why did the people vote them there? No matter if you say it's rigging, if you say it's falsifications,
Whatever.
the critical thing is that it was done by the people. However you look at it in a democratic setting, power must come from the people.
That's how.
If you're writing it in your room, if you're casting it at the bar, it must
It's
come
still
from the people.
humans.
So now they will tell you, if they are not doing well, look at it. And then it is that Edo election that is the propensity, that is the vehicle driving the party, and they're telling you that Ondo Agets is gone.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's their language. Forget it. They have returned it, and they tell you Anambra by next year, history.
Well, you can see the Anambra movement. There's the Bianca Ojukwu appointment, and then of course Remi Tinubu, that's the first lady, has gone to distribute rice in Anambra as well to help cushion the effects
To
of
refugees.
yeah. So I keep wondering, is it a rice currency we are using now? Because I'm sure it's not just Anambra women who are in
I said
need.
something in this studio sometime. I said that it's unfortunate that hunger, poverty, and penury have been weaponized.
So we're there.
So we're there, and then once you hear BBB, say and somebody come and tell you, why are you wasting your time? Come and join us. This and so much money. You have money to do this and that. Blah, blah, blah. So you walk, and then we'll move, we mobilize and things like that. And then
That word, mobilize.
That is the that's the right.
That mobilization is
That's the
usually-
razzmatazz. So once your head is packed up and filled up with this, the mind is a funny entity. The mind start tickling and say, it could be true that if I do this, this could happen, and things like that. And you go home, you don't have 1,000, don't have 2,000, don't even have 3, and then you're going home, somebody just talk into your palm and say, have this 5,000 naira. Tomorrow after work, they will settle us, and they will continue from there. So this is the mindset of the populace, and that's why I told you that poverty, penury, and hunger has been weaponized. So that
Wow.
immediately you hear that noise, it becomes the noise or the sound of wisdom.
Wow.
That you have to get up and join them.
The
So,
sound
oh
of
well,
wisdom.
but the issue is this:
Yes.
how long will that last? How long will that be? So, I want to state that 2027 election will definitely, because by the time you swear the governor in Edo, you swear the Ondo one, and then probably assuming they win Anambra and the rest of it. So the meaning is that Nigeria is turning into a one political party.
That's
and
right.
then that is too dangerous for any citizen. And then what will it produce? Americans are fighting over Trump's statements. They are ascribing to him. They're tagging. They say he's a fascist. You say he's an authoritarian. And that is coming from a government angle. So it's an issue. So people, we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful with our political. We have to be very careful with our economics. We have to be very, very careful. The truth is that I don't know how the economy is picking up, but if the economy is picking up, definitely government is the beneficiary. Government cannot be a beneficiary of an economy. It is economic benefit is for citizens. Welfare. That's what the Constitution stated. And you don't go outside your law. Granted that the Constitution obliged the president to introduce measures or such, opportunities or whatever occurrences that can help the system grow, it did not also permit the president or anybody to introduce measures that can pull the country down.
Wow. All right, we will come back to Mr. Tony Wachuku. I said it this morning is something. Call the numbers that I'm about to give you to join the conversation live in the Volt studio this morning. You can also send text messages or WhatsApp messages to those numbers, and we are live on YouTube. It's High Voltage News on YouTube, and you could be able to see us both while we're trying to have this conversation. Join us, subscribe, like, and share. Call 0706 048 5853. Also call 0915-570-8347, okay? To be a part of the program, the phone lines are officially open. Now, let me go back to the Naira, and, you've mentioned it. Also, we are aware that the IMF just in the past weeks, in the past months, have tried to encourage the economic changes that we are making here. They've told the president that he's doing well and has asked Nigerians to encourage him and to support what he's doing, even made a prediction that we needed to go this direction, for about 10 to 15 years to stabilize our economy as a country, and that if we don't, it spells doom. Now, the IMF and the World Bank are in the news this morning, denying that they didn't, advise Nigeria to tour this direction or to remove subsidy and all of that. So what do you think the IMF and the World Bank, what is their business? We understand that we have business with them, but why do you think that they are really, really vested in Nigeria at this point?
It's a continued colonial approach.
Wow.
Using a global fund system. The World Bank is all about global loans. The IMF is all about global loans. It is the bank of the nations. And then you go there, you solicit for loan. They tell you things they expect you to do. These are colonial behaviors. Zimbabwe, I don't know what their situation is like today, but whatever it is the IMF and then the World Bank that made Zimbabwe. They went there, they convinced Mugabe, who as a youth, late of blessed memory, understands the operations, purpose and objective or whatever of this global financial bodies. He caved in, he fell into them. Now, one question is this: why is third world countries not looking inwardly with view with view to recourse to their mineral resources. Why are they not developing indigenous productive companies? Indigenous productive companies. Why would you want somebody from China to come here, even when you know that Japan, they say Japan is the father of technology in the world? Nobody, no human being has monopoly of technology. We have various students in our various universities studying physics. All the things you see is about physics.
Yes, but we have POS.
Listen. I say physics.
That's what I'm saying, but we have POS as businesses, so why would you expect them?
Listen to me.
What do you want?
Listen to me. The earlier we start having government, the better for us.
How?
Because what we have is just, with due respect, I'm on air, but it's unfortunate that what it appears to be is that you have a system that's more interested in just collecting revenue.
You might have a point, because we've seen this reflected in the states as well. And then did you see the local government conundrum, where the governors are insisting that they will not leave the local governments alone?
But I told you here that it's not possible. The Supreme Court, that judgment is that the Supreme Court erred. I told you that judgment cannot stand when you look at section 162 sub 5 and 6. And I told you that when you look at section 7 and 8 of the Constitution, and then other parts there too, that linked the state with the local government system on grounds that the state is the monitor. And I said that the local government system will continue to may continue to be an abyss for so many things that we wouldn't like to see in governance.
Wow.
And I told you that that level of government is the actual destination point for development. Because, listen, we still buy yam, go to our houses, peel it, throw the peeled, bags and things like that, dispose it off. Just because we don't have a yam productive companies, not company, but companies that can translate. If you move to Southwest, for instance, the pillages from the yam are converted into dust. That's the amala you eat.
Oh yes.
So
let's start talking.
There is need for our government to understand that they are not just government of revenue, but they are regulator, they are government of regulations and policies. It's very important. And then there is no other investor you have anywhere other than government.
True. Good morning to you. Good morning. Of course, I figured you might be. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good morning today.
There is a place we call Agwebe. Agwebe is about 30 kilometers diameter. Nobody goes there for farm. That place is a place that was feeding the whole of Epe, Eke, and Okana, including part of Egede. That place is no longer accessible. Nobody goes there now because of what is insecurity. And that insecurity is caused by the header. Before, we used to go to the village and bring food. Today, we buy food in Enugu and send it to my mother. Oh, good God. So I think we are missing the whole thing. We think that, yes, fuel subsidy is a problem. The so-called Naira, whatever, is also a problem. But the biggest trouble, in my own point of view, is inability to access those farms. Okay, like you're talking about those cassava tails and or yam tails. Where do you now see yam? That's even a problem. Where are those cassavas? If as long as we do not have access to our farm, and like I told you before, Tony, I was old enough when the only thing we were buying in my home, in our house, was salt. The other things we were able to get it. Today we buy visually everything, including abacha, apple. Oh, good God. Our people are known for the production of oppa. You can't, you know, if you produce oppa now, you could chop. You know what the headers do? They will come and uproot all of them because according to them, if cow eats that leaf, oppa leaf, the
It's
cow will die.
poisonous. Yes, I heard that too.
So what are we in trouble? We are in a very big trouble. If these people can leave our farm, we don't have much problem, to be frank. I'm telling you. My mother does not even know that the fuel is costing 1 million or whatever. Her problem is that she cannot access her farm. Because before we used to send money, they just come and even the afternoon. Today, where is the going to please, we know what are the what is the solution? Thank you, no difficult.
All right, Mr. K, thank you very much for calling.
A quick one.
Mm-hmm.
See, the everybody appear to be felon in this tragedy that is all over the place, or tragic or whatever. You see, we look into government as if government is one Holy Spirit that operates somewhere and that you can invoke and they come about.
Okay.
See, we need a new deal. We need a community-based new deals. When you go to various communities, I want to tell you about this insecurity. One of the challenges is what I call residential neglect due to clusters.
Okay.
You come to a community, they abandon a large chunk of their lands and then move to a certain part and cluster.
Yes.
It is time communities rethink, because this situation,
They call it the community land.
community land, yes.
Yes.
There will be nothing wrong
Okay.
because the rich comes from a community, comes from a clan, village in a community.
Okay.
Politics is
Grassroots.
is in the community. I recall when Jim Wobodo was governor, though I was very, very small then. He brought the NPP government then, according to my father, embarked on what they call educational revolution. A must for every child. Communities were developing schools, and governments, when they develop structure, school structures to a point. And the structures I was telling you is that the government had a policy then that teachers will live in schools. Teachers will reside in schools. That is the only way to monitor and then enables the students to have access to them. So there is need for redesigning of communities. Because if you have one big bush path where people used to go to and farm as, an abandoned territory.
Okay.
There is need for border controls in communities. There is need for border monitor in communities. And then how do you do that? And that's why I hold the opinion consistently that the traditional government system, what they call the chieftains, the Chigwe and the cabinet and the things like PG and the rest of them, they have very, very big job to do.
Really?
Yes. And then the system, I've been expecting the House of Assemblies of States to take a look at their ordinances law and see a way of bringing these traditional rulers. It's not just making somebody a traditional ruler and then incapacitating the fellow at the same time.
But they go to the meetings, with the governor every now and then.
It is not an issue of going to meetings with anybody, whether the president or whatever. It's an issue of providing governance in their community. It's an issue of providing...
Do you think that the local government system will help with what you're talking about?
Yes. they have a very big role to play. How do we get to the idea of convergence? Selecting persons to do what? To represent us in the House of Reps and things like that. It was communal based because from villages, you have people representing each village in the cabinet of the traditional ruler. You have your Nowos, you have chief this, chief that, Abakeku, and things like that. So why it is time to make a law that will involve the traditional government actively.
So are you saying that the bias might not come in there, as we've seen with almost everything?
There is nothing you do on earth, since it's a human business, you will notice differentials. There's no way you look at it, but let's have it done. Because I know communities where villages goes to some people in the village from various or some villages go to corporate affairs and register their village as a welfare association.
Wow, is that big?
To enable them to operate.
Operate on what level?
At the level that they so feel otherwise or desire.
Join the conversation. Let's see if we can grab a couple more calls before we run off the studio, because we don't have a lot of time. I'm sorry to those who were trying to call. Please, you can call back now. We have barely 10 minutes before it's all over. But hey, if you hurry up, we might just be able to hear from you before we go. 0706 048 5853. Also call 0915 570 8347. Don't forget to keep your comments simple, civil, and clean, so that we don't break any rules, no regulations, while we're trying to do the right thing. All right, welcome back.
So please, briefly, what do you think that is stopping our state governor from embarking on that well thought out idea of establishing ranches so that these cattle people will live on farm? Thank you.
I think
I am not an SA to the governor or SPA to the governor on cattle ranching, but the critical thing is that the law has been made, and the government has a department that is handling these issues. Government is not like fetching a bucket of water and batch yourself with that. You know, they take their time and things like that. But I know that I think the law is the first basic thing. But if we're talking about these ranches, don't you know that 5, 6, 7 commercial farmers can feed the Enugu State and have surplus agro produce for agro industries in Enugu State?
But the businessmen in Enugu have told us that every time that they wanted to set up, resourceful businesses like this, that for some reason government comes for them. It seems the only businesses that are worth coming together to do here are hotels and hospitality business. I've asked this question 1 million times, and I'm told that government makes sure that they are not able to carry out these other forms of investments, except hotels. The government don't stop them from building these hotels.
I don't agree to that.
Okay.
If you want to do business, first you incorporate your company, and then you approach, if it's government oriented, if you want government to participate.
Okay.
Like this agro business, whatever you do, you need government. You need the Ministry of Agriculture, the partnership of that department of government. And then whatever land you are looking for, they know where the land is. Whatever seedlings you want to do, maybe you want to take 2,000 acres, 1,000 acres and things like that over time. And the government is concerned about 2 things. 1, how are we sure if we give you this land, it will not be a problem between you and the communities we are lifting this land from. So these things are the issues. And then remember that government don't just walk into the communities, though they are the owners of the land, but you have communities who are the actual owners of the same land too. Okay, I didn't know whether you saw Kamala go back to Red Indians, the owners of America. So now, if knowing that this is the case, people need to do workable proposals of business. And if government sees that, for instance, some part of Lagos State, some part of landowners, where Dangote establishes refineries. Agitations are springing up now.
Yes, that
But
is true.
they are not compensated. And if it continues that way, it may get to generation, and then it comes like just a water underneath. And it will keep eating up the soil. It will keep afflicting Dangote until at a point they can no longer handle this situation. Remember how the Niger Delta crisis came up. So there is need for government also to do what? To provide necessary informations to interested indigenous investors. When you talk about America, they had these challenges. Not just Europe had these challenges. So what do? They relied on commercial farmers to provide food. Because if they give you certain acres of land for production of potato, and then you can't exceed that, but you must be seen to provide that. And then this insecurity thing is checkmated and controlled to a level. Do you understand?
I'm with you.
So, and the leisure business, it's not government that permitted leisure business.
Really?
Yes, it is citizens that went in there and saw that it's something they could just buy 3-5 plots or 10 plots of land and develop structures there and things like that. Government own is that once you incorporate, you pay them their tax, you pay whatever that is applicable to leisure and things like that. Let me tell you, those that invest in leisure see it as easy way. And that's why I keep saying that government should not be encouraging easy funds. The only way to this insecurity is to bring in commercial farmers.
But why don't you think that there is a deliberate effort? Because this whole hunger business that we've been talking about, right? It seems it's only the people who think they're hungry. Every other person thinks we're okay. And that's why we've not seen the governors trying to do anything about it. Nobody is doing anything about this hunger situation.
No.
So I want to understand why is that?
I beg to disagree with you because
What do you think? Yes.
I know that in Enugu, for instance, that the House of Assembly of Enugu State made a law for this commercial farming,
Okay.
for ranches and things like that. The other day they handled their what they call palm produce business that the government handled, and then they brought in companies that is there, and you are well so that, for instance, in Enugu State, you have a flour mill the government is participating at a higher equity in. Okay, so but the issue is this: in government, how eager is the Department of Agriculture? At what speed are they operating? The governor is just the signatory person. If what you're talking here is clear to him and the ESCO, and then one-on-one with him. So, how many farmers, commercial farmers, have the ministry been able to attract to this environment? How many commercial farmers have approached the Ministry for Agriculture through the commissioner, and then head of departments and whatever, the PAMSEX and things like that?
Yes.
How many commercial farmers have applied to possess whatever thing they need from these ministries or departments? So you don't just government is like an ocean. You don't jump into it anyhow. If you move into it anyhow, but my own view of that, one of the ways of handling this insecurity business is to bring in on board very big corporation, big agro investors. Let them come in. Once they come in, anywhere they take over, they must secure it. Anywhere they take over, they must secure it.
Okay.
But the critical thing is, how do you bring in the traditional or the community-based government that is not active at the moment, that is settling land dispute problems or challenges among its citizens that at the end of the day may end up in customary courts, still shifting it to government.
Yeah.
So I think there is an urgent need for the government, the executive, to propose a review of the local council or community ordinance laws, and then get the traditional rulers, the cabinets, the PGs, on active participation, so that whatever is going on in your community, you will be held responsible for that.
Responsible, that's a word that is sometimes strange around here, but we hope that soon enough we will begin to use the word for what it is for. But I think this is where we will shut it down this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. I'm so sorry for all those who tried to reach us while we were having this conversation. It was Mr. Tony was on the roll, and I didn't want to stop all of that. But you know what, thank you so much for joining the show this morning. We'll do this again tomorrow, because this show comes to you every weekday, Mondays through Fridays, 9 a.m. till 10. You can always follow it on YouTube. It's High Voltage News. Like, subscribe, and share. And you'll be doing us a really big favor. Thank you, Mr. Tony Nwachukwu, for coming to the program.
You're welcome. Number one.
Mr. Tony is a public affairs analyst and a friend of Vote 104.3 FM. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Mavis Atudume. Try to be good to yourself and to everybody else out there. I'll see you tomorrow.